So when drawing with your 3D avatar pen, try to start, like always use your numbers to be straight on with the view, and then, so starting here the center front, then I turn to the side to have a look at the side view. Now I can press P to get away from the body and hold Command. And now if I press 2 again, I can see that I actually did stay in the front. Because if you are not right on the correct angle, it is quite tricky to get it right. So next one. So I would start here, knowing that I can see it. I'm in the right place, but then I want to go in an angle which is not too far this way, because now I don't know if I'm in front of this, I'm actually to the back. So I want it to be kind of as if I'm right from the side. So holding Command to get curved points. Let's have a look. That's not too bad. So it's out by a little bit, but it's really hard with the 3D to be precisely on the exact point where you want to be. So then the side seams here. I go to the side, I start here, and then I go to the back view. And I can draw the panels on. And to this side. So again, I start making sure that I'm in the right place, and then actually move this till I feel like I'm straight on, so I see that this actual line that I want to draw on should be like a very thin line now. That's the best way of making sure you're on the correct angle. At least close to. So here at the hem, even though I didn't move anything till then, it did go off a little bit. So at this point here, trying to adjust now. Doesn't always go where you want it to go. Okay. See, like sometimes it looks like you're in a perfect position, but then you're actually really far away from the body, because you cannot, from this view, I cannot pull it towards me or away from me. I can only go left or right. And then you look at it from the side. And we don't have to be directly on these lines. We can just be above, and that's fine. We can always adjust your pattern. We can always adjust the pattern after, so that's not a problem. So 8 to be straight on to the back. Starting here. Turning to the side. Pressing P to get away from the body. Holding Command for the curved lines. And while I'm here, I'm connecting those lines at the hem. And this snap quite nicely together. You need to do the same at the top. I find it a little bit harder, so I'm gonna just hide this pattern piece. And now try again. once all are connected, we can start using the flattening tool, which is hiding behind the 3D pen avatar. Flatten, and then you can hold Shift to select multiple pieces, and once your selection is ready, you can press Enter. And I would never go through the effort of making symmetric sides because it's just no point, right? So we can just duplicate the pieces from here. Just move all of this a little bit out of the way, and then just be really aware which piece is what. Yeah. This one goes here, and this is our center back. Yeah. And then remember, you can adjust the pattern pieces and how they are positioned on the screen. And then you can also reset, of course, the grain line after. But often when we do trace them with the 3D pen and then the flattening tool, pieces are not in a correct grain line. And then we can select this tool here, which is your edit texture, and you can I don't want to type in the angle because it goes from, if I make it 90 degrees or 180, it's not, it's to its original position. Okay. And I would select those pieces and create clone pattern with symmetric, so a clone pattern with linked editing, so that's what we want to do, and we want to have a symmetric pattern with sewing. So all of this to the other side. And when we use the flattening tool, it already knows what gets stitched together. So if you have a look, when you flattened it, it knew that these two were together and these two, and so are these. The only thing it doesn't know is the center front and the center back. So that's what we needed now. I will not simulate yet because there's a lot of other things I want to do. For example, I want to make sure this doesn't just slide down. I probably want to stitch it to the upper part. I may bring back my the top edge, the top band that I have, and that's something I can stitch together now. So this was my front, and then this is the sides, and we also have symmetric sewing on this, which is good. So that means we can actually stitch stitch one side and have the other side ready too. Just gonna put this here for a minute. Hopefully I can get it closer and a better view. Okay. So now for the sewing, don't know if they will have the same size. So all of this will get stitched to here and holding Shift or continue to the side. Actually, when I just did that, I noticed a difference here. This will stop here, but I want this to go up all the way. Okay, that's better. So you always want to check the sewing on the screen as well. And then, so that's our front done, and then the back. I'm going to start from the center back to the side seam, from the center back to the side seam, which is pretty close, which is great. It's just out. Not out at all. So that's great. So now, I think I'm going to stitch on the hem as well. It's going to be a little bit trickier because we have all the small pieces. So I need to be really aware which one is which. So this is my one front. And then this is and here I don't have symmetric sides, so you would have to stitch it all. Let's actually see what happens if we don't stitch it to the hem. And I also just want to bring it further out so we don't have too much collision between the between our petticoat and the actual dress. Okay, so if you were to simulate right now, the petticoat will actually collapse under the weight of it. So if you have a look, it does bring it down quite a bit, right? So that's not what we want. So we undo for now. Okay, and we have a look at our object browser and our property editor, and this is obviously our standard fabric, and we may look in our library for something different. So I already had a look. I'm not too sure what the fabric actually is at all. There's definitely some, I would say some beads or some, there's also some shiny parts that you can see more so in this back image. So I don't know, maybe we can have a look, but for now I'm just gonna pick something fur-like, so I have a little bit of thickness and the texture of this, and then later I see what I can do with the rest of it. So I already checked in my library what I have, and how you want to look at this is you want to look at your composition at your weight. So the weight here is 230 grams and the thickness is 0.5. Then this one you can see looks a lot hairier, more like proper hair going down. This one as well, and this is the more hair. So this is 260 grams per meter, so this is even heavier. And this one here is again looks a little bit too hairy, I feel. So I probably go for this Angora. This is also 230 grams. So I do feel that this one here is probably the better option. So I add it to the workspace, so now it's here. I can select the pattern pieces, so my dress, and apply this fabric. We can actually make it a bit lighter as well. And okay, so that is that part. And then for the other fabric, which this one, I might just call it boning. So you can rename this, and then I know that all of this are my boning pieces. And what I want to do with the boning, so I click onto the boning, get the property editor for all the boning information, and you can see it's the name. In here it's more like the texture appearance, but if you scroll down further you find physical properties, and there's a preset. So here we have got a lot of options, so this is something you can definitely play around with and find something more suitable. So cut and sew will obviously not be what we want. Non-fabric, PVC, trim hardware. So I think these are the ones I will try and see if they will actually work and help us get this to stand better. So let's try this. Okay, so that's already a lot better, right? So one other thing that I can see straight away here as well is obviously our pattern is still far from being perfect, but it's also a little bit too big here. I've got too much fabric in comparison to our petticoat, but we did know that as well, and we're going to change that in a minute. So these lines I can now also delete, so they're no longer confusing us. Sticking out from underneath the dress. So now we'll probably start working on our pattern and see how we can get it all a little bit sitting nicer. I also want to change the avatar pose. Maybe to adjust it a little bit once my pattern is more what I want it to be. And then we can start working on the actual visual appearance of it. So if we go back to our image here, that's the front view, of course. Then we will see that we have this pleat going in here. So that's something we need to change on our front. So we want to have some excess fabric that we extend here at the front and then pleats around into the side seam. So that's what we should start working on now. Next, we are going to work on the pattern to try to achieve this pleats here in the front, and also you can see there's more fullness at the back. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the pose to make sure the arms are not in the way. Okay, that lifts up the dress a little bit, but not by much. Happy with that. So now I'm going to start drawing the excess fabric here. So I am imagining that this the pleat is extended here and then folds over to the side seam here. So just going to my front pieces, I'm just going to play around, so feel free to do your own version of this. I am looking at making this a straight line because I don't think I want to have a seam in the front, and you can see we have excess fabric here, so yeah, I will try to do this without a seam. And then I'm just going up here. How much do I go up by? It's probably a little bit of a guess at this point, and here I think I just want to have more fabric. So how you can estimate this would be by drawing a line. Actually, let me take off this symmetric editing first, because now my pattern will become asymmetric only at these two front pieces though. Okay, so if you imagine your pleats kind of goes from here somewhere to that side, so it needs to be long enough to go across here. And then kind of to the side seam. So if I have a look at these two lines, 31, it's not even all the way to the end, so 33 centimeters. And like I said, I'm just guessing here. I just want to have enough for this to fold over and go all the way to the side. So then I can adjust it further. And then for the back piece, the front piece, I am going to delete this at the front here and going to open this as unfolded as a symmetric, not symmetric pattern, but unfolded. So I have one pattern piece only. And first I want to remove all points on this line to make it straight, so that there was only one point on this line. And these points I am actually going to drag up. We don't want to have lines on top of lines, but sometimes I prefer to draw them first to have a little bit of an idea of and how to change them. Okay. And now once I'm fine with this, I can delete the lines on top of lines. Okay, there's none left there. Good. So now I can unfold. Usually I would always say it with symmetric editing and sewing, but not in this case because we will have a symmetric pattern here. Then I may want to have a point at this length, so I have an idea where it was meant to stop. 92.23. Okay, and I'm also going to adjust this piece. So 26 centimeters, I need to go up here. actually going to merge this piece onto this one as well, because if you have a look, we have a relatively straight line here now. I'm gonna add a point here towards the hem somewhere. Maybe just 33, and then just make sure you do the same on the other side. And if I remove this point here, I get a straight line, and here we also must have some other points still, so I can delete those and join those two. I will do the same for this side. Okay, so here on this side, I'm actually not too sure yet what I'm gonna do, how this is gonna look with the pleat folding over. This is my actual side seam, so I took this measurement from here to make sure my side seam still matches to this line here, and yeah, so that this pleats can join over this area. So I just dragged this down, but I wanted them to join as well. So now I can delete this piece as I have done what I wanted to do. And now I might just check my sewing. So this will no longer attach to the top edge, and neither will this, but I should still sew this side here to my side top edge here. But I don't think it should be this long. Just a little bit, and then the rest will be used for the pleating. Okay. I will also stitch these kind of darts that I have now, and my side seams are still stitched, but they are now a lot longer, so I need to adjust this. So this line here needs to match this one, and here it has deleted my sewing, so I need to re-add that. Okay, you might have seen that my sewing isn't perfectly matching here. I think my seams are not exactly the same length. That's actually often the case when we use the flattening tool. I will tidy all that up later, but for now I want to get the rough shape right first, and then I spend the time tidying up those little things. So this is kind of a starting point for the front. Then I need to see if I need to lengthen this, how the pleat's gonna fold here. But I just want to look at the back quickly. So if you have a look here again, not the best image, but you can see there's definitely some pleats. There's some fullness in here. And then we also know that we have a lot of, we have some extra fullness here for the sides for her to actually put her hands in. Don't know if we're gonna get her hands in, but we will try to get the same fullness happening. So this fullness that I want to create, if I have a look at these pattern pieces, and I can turn them a little bit more, I might merge them as well and have the fullness here as my pleat. But first I need to see how I would do this. I would keep the seam at the back and then have this potentially as a pleat. So to do so, I would just start off by adding a point somewhere there, 65, 16, and I do the same on the other side. Okay, so now I can actually match this two up and have a look how much I would gain here in between those two. That's 20 centimeters. I think that's too much. So I'll probably twist this pattern piece a little bit more. And again, I will match up these 2 points. Right click, match up. And check again. Yes, I think 12 centimeters is okay. So you have like a 6 centimeter deep pleat. So now I want to bring these two together. How I would do that? I would, instead of dragging this point, because then I will lose, I want to keep this shape that joins to my back at the moment. So if I start dragging this point here, this will change. Actually, I'm going to first add a point also in the center, and then I'm going to add a point here and here randomly, because these ones I will bring up to here and this one to here. So I kept this shape and this shape the same. I have this extra. Before I was telling you to straighten these lines first. Actually, let me delete this now that I have this worked out. But you can actually also just do it like this, and it will tell you exactly how much, well, it will show you here how much it removed. So it overlapped the two curves, and we did lose some extra fabric here. But if you think about it, this is our new pleat that we are creating. So really we didn't lose any fullness because we gained all of this in a pleat. So we still, this will be probably all be used up by the fullness of our skirt, and only this little bit here at the top will be the pleat, which I think could be what we have here. So for the pleat, what we need to do is we need to be really aware as in from where to where we have to stitch and where we want to put the pleat. So for the sewing of the pleat, you start from the pleat center and you go to either side, so that gets the pleat itself together, but it doesn't tell yet where the pleat is going to fold, to this side or to this side. So I wanted the depth of the pleat to fold in this direction, so the pleat itself looks like it goes, the fabric goes in this direction. So that means I'm going to stitch from here to here and from here to here. So that doesn't mean on Clo3D this will work. I usually do it in 2 steps, but I always try first because sometimes it may actually work out. Also going to stitch those 2. And here we had symmetric editing, so that's all the same, which I do want to have. So let's try this out. We obviously will have some issues. First of all, this one here, what is that? That's my front piece. It's going all the way from the front to the back. So I will definitely reset the 2D arrangement for this one and start off by repositioning this new front piece, moving it away and then tilting it a little bit. And then I just want to check that everything else is still good. My side seam is sewing there. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I thought this will happen. Whenever we make major changes, I don't know why, because I did not adjust this at all, but the attachment to the avatar deletes. So I'm gonna redo this part. Okay, so I'm gonna attach this. And then have a look at the front as well, make sure this is also attached to our basic tape measure on the avatar. And let's hope it will work this time. Okay, so the dress stays up, which is good. The petticoat is attached, but all our boning is coming out here, which is not what we want. So we do need to rework our dress completely. out first and then looking at it from the back and bringing it to the side. And then you can actually right click on this piece and go symmetric arrangement. So I will do the same. And then for the front, I think I will reset it again. And even this piece I will bring out further because I'm already interfering with the bonings, the petticoat. Okay. Just check that everything important is sewn. Yes. Okay, so some issues here. Maybe it can fix itself or we can have it. I don't think that's going to happen by itself. So what we can do, a good tool to learn and to use anyway, is this select mesh box. Let me find these pieces first. This one, and this one. Let's do those two first. So on here, I will select the pattern pieces. And you will see they will turn green. And then I will pull those to the inside. And then I want to find the last one, which is this one. And I will do the same thing. I will select the mesh box, select the pattern piece, and bring it to the inside. I'm quite happy with it. It's still sticking out. Okay, now I'll try to simulate again, and it looks a lot better. Okay, my pleats are not doing what I wanted them to do, and it looks like my dress is falling down here, so I'm just gonna check again. So now that it is finally attached, I don't know what was going on there, to be honest. This is mostly okay. Let me show you one other tool, which is really nice. I need to fix this up again. I will do that in a minute. But so under the same select mesh box tool, we also have the pin box. And this is a really nice tool to use as well. And you can select an area that gets pinned. And then if you simulate the fabric before but not here, and then you can actually bring it to, remember you cannot pull towards you, so you may need to look at it from the side, and bring this over. So now again I cannot bring it towards me, so go back to the front view, and now I can pull it into this direction. So this is quite a nice tool to actually be working with draping, right? If you want to bring up fabric, and you know, I mean, also for like now we have a plan, but in general, if you want to just take any fabric and start draping on Clo3D, the pin box is a good idea. So now it's maybe a bit far from the body. So I've just put that there for now to hold it in place. I'm going to go back to the back and I'm going to unsew the pleat here. So I want to keep the sewing from this back dress to the back strap there, and I also want to keep the sewing of the pleat, and let's see what that does. Yeah, so that gives us our pleats. They're standing now here instead of being folded to the inside. So I'm just going to hide my avatar for a minute, and I need to get these pleats to go to the inside of the dress. So again, a little bit tricky, but what I will be using is the same as we did before, the select mesh, and I know that this whole area basically is what I want to go to the inside. So while it's not simulating, I drag this to the inside. This will obviously be tricky because we have the boning pieces in here as well, but let's just try and see. And I usually do one side only, and then we do the rest after. So yeah, now we have this issue. And it's not on the side I want it to be. So I obviously need to select this and bring it even further than the fabric that I've just brought in. So I will try to bring this to the inside, and also this piece I need to sit back a bit. Okay. And now hopefully I can start getting my pleat. No, my pleat is out again. Okay. So this will take a little bit of playing around, but basically we need to get this pleat to go to the inside, and then we can stitch it to the other side. So I will just keep using the same tools. Actually now it's almost looking like it's gonna go into the place where I want it to be. So yeah, just play around with those few tools and get it there. So the back is starting to look like what I want it to look like. I'm happy with those pleats. So now I'm going to look at the front. I'm going to play around with this. Again, just extending, playing around with the fabric, getting the shape right, and stitching it to the sides so that the pleats can be attached to here and look something like this. So I think we're getting there with the shape. There's still, of course, some differences. I feel like we have too much fabric in here. And I mean, I did add quite a bit in. I don't know if you remember the step. At the beginning, let me just show you. So we extended this here to have something to drape, and then we gained this extra, and it was on both sides. So I was aware of that, but I feel like right now it looks a little bit too much. So what we can do now is to just bring in the sides a little bit to reduce the fullness. And again, this is just a matter of playing around and seeing what measurement looks right and works for you. 3 centimeters. I also feel like we have a little bit too much length in here, so I need to somehow bring this point in as well. So if you are draping this in real fabric, you would be pulling this towards there and take off more from the depth of your pleats. So it's the same thing I'm trying to do now, just reducing this and then making sure that my two sides have a similar length. Just have a look what that looks like. So that reduced a little bit more. Probably take off even more. This is getting too long now. So yeah, I'm just gonna play around more till I'm happy with the outcome, and then the next things would be to improve the hemline because that's not quite there yet. And yeah, so this measurement is 15, 17, so that's too long here. I want that to be shorter, so I'm just gonna have a look.